Welcome back to another episode of the Performance Mindset Show. I'm your host, Amy Calandrino, Orlando commercial real estate broker and author of the book From Perfect to Real. This show is all about leveling up in business, real estate, leadership, and life by shifting how you think, grow, and lead. Each week, I bring you real conversations with top performers and mindset experts who are building big lives on their own terms. If you're ready to ditch perfection, trust your path, and grow with intention, you're in the right place. Be sure to subscribe, and let's get right into it. So today I have with me Leslie Cook, and she is Regional Manager of Business Development at Cuhaci Peterson, a nationally recognized, did I say that right? Cuhaci, yeah. Yeah, I always don't trust myself.
Cuhaci. I've heard of it.
I have a friend that has
actually a conversational piece.
Cucci, and have another friend, Sioki, so so it's always such a Cuhaci Peterson, a nationally recognized design firm incorporated in Florida that brings together a diverse team of architects, engineers, designers, planners, and support staff, all driven to make clients successful by delivering exceptional end-to-end designs. With registered professionals in all 50 states, they've grown to be from a one-man operation in 1978 to a multidisciplinary powerhouse from projects from coast to coast, permitting in 700 jurisdictions annually, and its headquarters is right here in Orlando, Maitland specifically. Leslie brings over 15 years of experience in construction and real estate project management to her role. She first began in project management in New York City, leading complex, fast-paced projects in multifamily, retail, cultural, restoration, and mixed-use development. She's known for her ability to bridge technical expertise with relationship-driven strategy, helping Cuhaci Peterson grow, strengthen partnerships, and create meaningful impact through design. Woohoo, that's a lot.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah. Well, before I jump in, I find it really interesting how we got to meet. I've been part of ICSC, and those who aren't familiar with that is the International... Hello, dude.
But I love
Welcome
it.
to the podcast. Talk to the show. I think we're just going to leave them and we're going to roll with it. I was at ICSC Orlando just recently, Florida, and I was like, I didn't make any plans. I've had just too many things going on with clients and kids and all of that. And I realized I need to go somewhere for dinner. Am I just going to go roll somewhere, or what am I going to do? So I asked my friend Julie Fox, I'm like, can you get me on a list for some dinner? I don't even mind if I pay for my own dinner. I don't mind. I want to go to it, go hang out with some people. I made no plans. And so she got me in on your dinner, and that was a really good dinner. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, and I love meeting your entire team. So
I'm so happy. Yeah, and so Bill Tamal from our Orlando office, he is our National Business Development Director, and he's the state marketplace leader for ICSC. He's really big into ICSC, and our Orlando office is very supportive of ICSC for many years. And we have a legend dinner, is what they call it, in Orlando, and we have one in Vegas. And it's the first year that I'm attending the Orlando dinner because I
heard it's coveted to get it on the team.
Yes.
You don't just get it.
No. Even it's very difficult. Even we have a limited space because we have co-hosts, so it's very tough. So it was nice for me to be able to have Julie, you there, some of the women from Pipeline.
Yeah.
It was a nice experience, yeah.
That's great.
And Bill was happy to have you there. So it was just nice, yeah.
It was really good. I had a lot of fun. So and like I said, it showed me how your whole team, your co-hosts and everyone just shows up, and
poems,
it was just a wonderful time. What's that?
They do the poems and the client appreciation, and it's nice. Everyone's really a family and really appreciative of everyone that goes to the.
Well, and there was some specific. It was interesting because I immediately had something for one of the co-hosts to get on, and then I learned more about you guys and how we could potentially work together. So it was awesome. So. So your career path is an interesting blend of construction, project management, and now business development. How do you describe what you do at Cuhaci Peterson today?
So I'm working on business development. I started my career in the field. My dad was a carpenter. My family has been in construction and development. And I've learned different roles in construction and development in New Jersey, Florida, Puerto Rico, and all over the nation. And I went to school for business, so I didn't go to school for construction. I never thought I would be in the field in construction. But in order to go back and sell something or be in a business role, I really wanted to understand it and know what I was selling and understand the dynamics of everything. So I worked my way up in construction from estimating, sweeping floors, purchasing everything. Every job you can imagine in construction, in the field, I learned everything. And then I came back to business development years later. So only recently I started a full-time position in business development in the construction field. But then I went to architecture this past May. So working in business development, but bringing what I know from the construction world and development and understanding the needs of the developers and what the lessons learned or what the issues we had with our design teams or with our engineers, and seeing how we can bridge those gaps. So that's what I'm working on with Cuhaci, and which is great because they're open to that. We have other people in the firm, like a developer in our Philly office who, he's not an architect by trade, but he's a developer and he's the principal of the Philly office, and he brings a different dynamic to understanding the problems of our clients. So
it sounds like that you're able to actually, you might have like a different perspective, but then someone in another office, you might be able to kind of, synergize with them on ways to, again, like elevate the experience or, bridge the gap between customer needs and in deliverables and all of that.
Yeah, and so we know who to go to. We're not architects. Like Brian McCarthy from Ambler and myself, we're not architects, but we know to go to those architects to do the drawing, but we can explain to them what the issues are because we're coming from that construction and development role. So we're able to close those gaps.
Yeah. So I feel like Florida is completely different than New York City. Yeah. So you worked in some very dynamic markets. What would you say was like your biggest shift or lesson in your journey?
There's differences, but there's a lot of similarities. I'd say a lot of developers in New York are also investing in Florida, or they're doing both. They're definitely doing
very
both.
Fair.
I'd say the snowbirds. So there's some people who want to be down here in the winter, and there's a lot of opportunity in Florida, but there's also opportunity in New York, and everyone's following trends and following money. So wherever land is. So, but there are differences. There's so much land in Florida. You guys are able to just build whatever you want. I feel like you can build faster. It's less expensive. There's less hurdles. There's different hurdles, but up in the Northeast, we have issues with permitting. We have issues with land. We don't have space.
You can't tear down something down to build something new.
We also are having a hard time figuring out what are we doing with our older existing malls, and what are we going to do? Like, no one can understand what they can do with them and how they can do it affordably. So I think we need to have those discussions and figure out how is our Florida just tearing them down inexpensively and building brand new shopping centers and building mixed use spaces. I think a lot of it has to do with the weather. You guys can have clients coming in all year round. We only have 2 to 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit tough to have that indoor outdoor space, but we have to figure something out because we have a lot of vacant, corporate offices and malls that really need to be reconfigured.
Yeah, I've seen some interesting, adaptive reuses of malls. I think I saw a project in Boston where the second story is apartments or something. Yeah. Did you see that project? You know what I'm talking about?
I'm not sure, but that's a lot of conversations, and we're seeing a lot of that also, which is great. I think, multifamily above retail is definitely the way to go.
Because we can't lease out the whole mall, but the mall's decent. And so they were almost making them studios, and I thought that was really interesting.
I think I did. I don't know I guess it was Boston. I did see that. It looked a little awkward, but
it did.
I don't know if I'd want to live in the mall, but if you can feel,
it brings a whole new meaning to mall rats. Does anybody know what that is or doesn't know what that is?
But I did see it. Yeah, I did see that.
I thought it was really interesting. They said they really liked it because also it seemed like it wasn't the traditional retail Victoria's Secret. It seemed like they had maker spaces. They had coffee. Yeah. It was more experiential kind of space. So I thought it was
beer gardens were kombucha. Yeah, that would be fun. Cafes.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see 5-10 years from now, how that's going.
There's definitely some unique mixed use and adaptive reuses. We saw like a school that they turned into apartments. Churches now they're turning into housing, like apartments, and breaking up the old church cathedrals and turning them in.
Yeah, let's talk about, like, I'm working on something now. I can't speak about it yet until it closes, but it is taking something that was completely different and we're making it into like a retail project. But it's totally what you wouldn't expect. Like, what are some cool projects that you can speak of maybe that are like closed that were one thing, whether it's CVS or otherwise? What are some kind of the cool adaptive reuses that you've seen?
The church keeping like the stained glass from the outside, looking like the traditional church cathedral, and then it's turned into a high-end loft, like maybe four. I think it was like 4 lofts. This is in New Jersey. I just saw this, and the rents that they're getting are $7,000 a month. So that is interesting. So
are they like 2-3 bedroom within the church?
Within
or
the
like,
church, and they're broken out into lofts. But there's 2 bedrooms and big open loft, and and I'll
have to look that up. We'll have to drop it in the show notes so you can find it.
Niche market, yeah.
What's it called?
It's like I would say it's a very niche client that would want to live in that. They're getting the rents for that.
That's some sacred space.
So, yeah.
So, well, we talked a little bit about it, but do you have anything else to speak to about like your on the ground kind of construction experience, how that it's shaped the way that you approach business development?
Yes, I never wanted to ever approach business development as being pushy or salesy. I always wanted to be very intentional and strategic, and make sure I knew what I was talking about and if I could add value and be authentic. And the developers that I've worked with or I've tried to target, I like to say that I've had strong relationships with them where I'm not looking to have relationships with thousands of people. I'm looking to have strong relationships that I've been able to carry over, from various companies that I've worked for, and you'd followed me and they listened to my advice, and I tell them, yes, I'm the right fit, or this company I work with is the right fit or not the right fit. I've been honest with them, and I feel like they trust that, and it comes back to you. So when you're authentic and you're honest with them, it will come back to you. They remember that, they appreciate it, and then they'll refer you to a client that is the right fit for you. So it's helped me a lot.
Fit is something, and the concept of like enough and like understanding where you deliver the most amount of value, like you're talking about, is like a concept that's not focused on like enough. We were talking about a little bit like off camera when you first came in, and I talked about the amount of like productivity I've had. Like recently, I've made like a big shift myself personally in just taking where I know I'm going to add the most value and saying no to the assignments. Because before I'd be like, oh, I really want to help them. But then me taking, a one-off retail space that's not like in my core market, just because I want to help that person, but that's like killing a mosquito with a sledgehammer. And really my expertise is more so like helping the business owners become their own owner, or helping people do the development, do the investing. That's kind of where I'm at in my career trajectory. And so by like being more intentional about where I add the most value and only focusing on those projects, and then graciously I'm giving away all the other stuff that's not great, it all comes back.
And it's opening up space for you to do what you love and what you're good at.
Right.
And I've learned that earlier in my career, I did all that. I exhausted my own internal resources. I was just beating myself up trying to do everything, and I was giving 10% to a million things, and I could have just focused. And now I'm really strategic and understanding. Even coming to Cuhaci Peterson, I was like very strategic. I knew that I knew ICSE was really important to me. I knew the national rollouts, the programming, the connections I made through Pipeline, Julie Fox and Gina Romero and everyone in Pipeline, like Beth Azor has been very, instrumental in my career, and, listening to her and how she does canvassing and all of those things. That's important to me. And so being aligned with a company that supports ICSC and that those are the clients they're looking for, making sure that you're aligned and not picking the smaller things. That's great for someone else, and another company, that is their niche and that they'll do great in that.
Right.
But if I'm focused on that and then programming, I'm just spreading myself too thin. And yeah, so.
Yeah, I think it's so funny with Duke. I've gotten used to, we haven't had a podcast recording in a few weeks, so I haven't been taking him to doggy daycare. He's been just like staying home, but usually I take him on Wednesdays to doggy daycare because we have podcasts. So this is Duke's debut appearance.
I think he should just be a part of the podcast.
I think he might just like stay. Maybe we'll get him like a little like seat there. So it's so funny. I've had him for 11 years now. Oh. He's named after John Wayne. He's so fun. So, how do you know? And I know you're on more the development side, but do you know specifically, what they do to help keep the culture and collaboration strong across your team? Because I know culture is huge, and I could like sense it and I can feel it because I'm all about energy. Do you know how they help to create that?
So we have multiple offices, so it is definitely a challenge that everyone's working on daily. Like even we just sat through a 2-hour marketing meeting and we're talking about CP gives and all of the different events that we're doing and internally, like pickleball and picnics and all of the events they had throughout the year, and they were going over budgets, and I'm just seeing their budget throughout the year, and I'm realizing like how many events they do and all the ideas they come up with. So there's like small things like potlucks and Taco Tuesdays and everything, and every office has their own culture, which is neat. So like our Philly office, I mean, even just our group texts, our team texts in the morning, of everyone texts each other all day, like, are you getting lunch? We're going here. But that's because Ambler, we're in a small town outside of Philly. We have a train station. It's a walkable community. Everyone walks to lunch together. It's like very tight knit. In the Maitland office, you don't walk to lunch, but we all do things in the office, like activities. So it's different, but everyone's pretty collaborative. And I know the marketing teams, and they're always trying to do team building and things like that. And ICSC trying to get everyone out to do events. ICSC is a big part of our culture. So trying to get as many employees out to that. But it's still a challenge. I know that everyone's trying to figure out what you can do more to keep everyone engaged.
Well, it's funny you mentioned like potlucks. It's sometimes the little things that make like the biggest difference, because those are like more authentic. And I remember we used to do that at my husband's law firm when I used to work there, and there'd be someone that would always bring the bag of potato chips. But you know what? Everybody loves potato chips. Who does not love potato chips? And
and everyone's like, at least they thought of it and they were engaged, and
they're like, this is my contribution. I'm bringing a package of the French onion dip and the potato chips. But you know what? I like that sometimes better than the really like gourmet stuff.
Yeah.
What, and you're a mentor to so many now, but for you, as you've been growing in your career, do you have a specific mentorship moment that made a real big difference for you? You talk about like Titans, like, Beth Azor and some others, but do you have something that specifically stands out to you?
So like Beth Online, like I knew when I was getting out of the field, I knew it was going to be a lot of work. It was a challenge, just a complete career jump to get out of work boots, and you have tangible items that you're able to measure your progress against. And business development, you don't. You do, but you also don't. It's tough. You're chasing things that all the stars can align, but you don't always get the project.
Yeah.
So it's tough. Like when you're in the field, you do your submittals, you get your project, you see a building built, and you see that progress. So I knew it was going to be a huge change, and I tried to take everything that I would see her talk about canvassing in real estate, Carly Iacona and Beth Azor, and then talking to Julie Fox. Pipeline, to be honest with you, was it's so instrumental in my career change and gave me the confidence to be able to do that, talking with those women who are real estate moguls, and they're, really strong and mentoring other women, and they were here generations before, and they dealt with some other challenges.
Oh, yeah.
So just hearing their stories and listening to Julie, and she's always encouraged me and been, level-headed about decisions and open to listening to other people. So and there's so many. I don't know. And there's a lot of men that have really mentored me in the field, to be honest.
Yeah, there's a lot. There are a lot of very supportive men.
So many, yeah. So I'm like, everyone that I've worked with, to be honest with you, especially in construction, some people think that they're not, but actually every PM, CEO, every company that I worked for, I really haven't had bad experience. Maybe one, but really not terrible. So I'm thankful.
Yeah, we're really fortunate to work in like commercial real estate space. I find it to be a very collaborative space. And then those that aren't, you know who they are, and you're like, ooh, I'm gonna have to work on a deal with that. Like, so.
And I think it's very rare now. I think it's starting to get a lot better.
It is.
I've heard stories, but maybe I just don't see it. But I'm sure it still exists. But but I think it's getting better.
Yeah, I think it happens all across different industries.
Oh, yeah, and I think it's just corporate.
Yeah,
the corporate world, because I hear about it in pharmaceutical and healthcare. So, but
there's certain people in this world that they lead emotionally rather than analytically, and like don't necessarily. I find it's like hard sometimes to do deals with other brokers, and you're kind of coming up with a solution, and they kind of just become so emotional about it, and like, let's focus on the facts. Like, this is what your guy needs, this is what my guy needs, and then like, let's figure out like how to like come together, because yelling at me about something is just not going to get it done. But that's few and far between. And then usually I'm just like, this is not productive. Like, take some time off, and like, let's figure this. This is not this big a deal. Like in the grand scheme of things, that we need to be that way. So.
And if that's how you're starting the deal, it's like some of the best projects were lost, or like it's if that's how you start the relationship, it might not be the worst thing to not even start the relationship. It's like there's a few projects that I'm glad that they didn't work out, because they probably would have ended up terribly in litigation. It's just it's not really a loss.
Well, again, it's back to fit and intentionality, and by like working with those that you're going to provide the most value, and those that appreciate you. Like, I have like a whole like rubric for like the clientele that I can work with. You have to. But it was interesting. I got a call from one of our data suppliers, and was asking me about like a lease deal I did. And they were asking about such and such clients. Are they still there? And I'm like, I should follow up. I can make a deal there. And I'm like, no, remind yourself, you don't want to like work with them. Like, I remember why I stopped following up with them, because they're just so demanding and so intense. And it's like, this is just a lease deal. This is not like, I don't do as well with like super emotional people. But I think eventually, I don't know what a tactic would be for someone to shift the way that they behave and do business. I don't know. I think people are just people. And so they're
set in their ways. And sometimes it is what it is, and like, you have to deal with it. When I was in construction, you joked and said it's like glorified babysitting, and you're like, managing everyone's egos, and everyone has to feel like they're, especially in contract negotiations, everyone has to feel like they've won a little bit. Like, as long as everyone feels like they won a little bit, that's a successful deal.
Yes.
But if it's not reasonable, I don't know, you can't. I feel like that's really difficult to manage that. And that's a relationship. You're going to be stuck on a project with someone for a year, 2 years. It's like, that's the start of that relationship. It's going to be a rough 2 years with them. So
yeah, it is a commitment. It's totally different than any kind of people like in residential real estate, where it's like just shorter cycle. You don't care as much. So you've been involved in some different housing and community incentives. What role can firms or people play in shaping more inclusive communities?
Yeah, so when I was in the field, I tried to take on projects or work on requests too. I couldn't always dictate what projects I was on, but I was able to request to be on some affordable housing projects and work for affordable housing, and tax credit projects in New Jersey, New York. And I am on the board for Women in Housing and Finance, which is a board in New York City for affordable housing. And there are so many ways that you can get involved. There's a big misconception with affordable housing, I think, across the nation, that affordable housing is low-income housing or Section 8 housing. That is a very small part of it, but it's also moderate income and workforce housing.
Yeah.
And so just educating everyone on what exactly affordable housing is a huge passion of mine. You'd be surprised at who qualifies for affordable housing. It's people who are making $100,000. They're police officers. They're
I was
teachers.
It's a lot of first responders. And these people are putting their lives on the line. Like, why do they need to commute in like an hour when maybe we can create like some space for them to be in the community in which they're serving?
Yeah. And it's just to offset the cost. So if rent is $6,000 a month, maybe they'll pay $3,000, or it's only 1%. And I think a lot of residents or taxpayers believe it's going to hurt them, or it's going to make their taxes go up, or I don't think they understand how the programming works. So education is a big thing. But developers can get involved by finding out how their cities or their state or even federal tax credits they can use it in their capital stacks when they're doing projects, mixed use projects. We're actually seeing a huge trend right now of a lot of like athletes looking into doing public-private partnerships with affordable housing tied to entertainment and sports. So we're seeing like sports clinics, health clinics, tying it to universities, schools. There's different ways you can add different tax credits and private money, public, and build like a mixed-use development in your community, which is it's interesting because you're matching your passion with helping your community. So it's pretty cool that we're seeing that.
Yeah, it's interesting to see is like a lot of the projects I see happening in Orlando. It's not just we're building like this strip center.
No,
it's like it's a lot of projects are very like activated and very intentional, and also creating the space. Like one project I've been working on for a while, and we're kind of like in a reset phase, but we're having like containers there with little micro businesses and this courtyard to bring the community in, and developers looking to really involve the community and making sure they would be part of like the workforce for the commercial project. And so it's not necessarily affordable housing, but I think that the more that developers can be intentional, or the community can, and like we're being more inclusive. Yeah. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, it's just building a box. Like affordable housing, it was just a square box, and you pick a color, and there was no intention behind it. It was just how quick can we put it up, how many units can we get, and how cheap can we build it. And now it's, can we bring in a park? Can we bring in supportive services? And who are you building the building for? Is it for veterans? Is it for teachers? Is it for the police? Who is it for? And so we're taking time, which doesn't take money. It just takes time to sit back before you start building it or designing it and having conversations. And so our team is definitely passionate about that. That's something even like we're doing the Lake Nona project. That is not just a retail space. It's an experience. And so a lot of the projects we're working on now are, it's nice because they're creative, and they're like a lot of our designers and our architects and our engineers are able to be really creative with everything. Like Juan and Lynette, like they're working on some projects where it's art to them. Like they're able to come up with these creative ideas, and it's not just building a target. You're able to sit down with a developer and just pull out a vision that they didn't even realize maybe they had, and execute that, which is really exciting. And it's not just a shopping center where you're going to buy your groceries. It's an entertainment space. You're going to walk with your family and maybe sit by a fire pit or listen to a concert on a Friday night and then eat or go for ice cream, or even not buy anything. You're just going out and getting out and walking in a community. So it's like a man-made little downtown. that didn't exist before.
And I think because you're bringing this level of intentionality and it's not just this very like generic cookie cutter project, it's much more sustainable. Like I read an article 5 or so years ago, and it talked about the dollars that were put in to create like these shopping plazas in the 80s and the 90s that are now like more like blighted and not sustainable in the way they were developing, not having the sustainability. But then now we're creating a community, and it's not just like something you're driving. Do you know what I'm talking about? Or like, I guess there's some themes around it. You're much more involved in the field.
Yeah, and there's so many that are going on right now. And some of the, like my favorite one in Pennsylvania is King of Prussia Town Center. Monmouth Mall right now is actually, it's going back to the original concept. The construction company that I used to work for, Sardoni, is building that right now with Kushner. And in the 80s, it was this open concept with anchors and some indoor-outdoor shopping centers. Oh. And they found the original drawings in the basement. They're like, it's so funny. We're going back to what it was like 30 years ago. So it's funny we're coming full circle, but we're seeing that a lot. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
And that one's in...
that's in New Jersey.
That one's in New Jersey.
But there's so many, even like Lake Nona is another example.
Yeah.
And I think of, I feel like there's a lot. Coral Gables has a few. There's just some fun places. I feel like the developers are coming up with more creative solutions. Dania Point, Kimco's Dania Point is one of my favorite shopping centers, where it's more of an experience. It's not just you going to like a strip mall.
Right.
So
kind of keeps you there, and you have multiple places to go and visit.
You're spending hours and out. Yeah. And you have multifamily, you have hotels.
Oh. And then I see a lot of like more transit-oriented development now that we've been having to start having more, but that's a whole other conversation.
Yes. Maybe more transit.
Yeah. How do you personally define success when a partnership goes right?
That's a very good question.
Right.
You feel good about it. So you feel like you've added value. Like I feel like I said, like everyone feels like they've walked away with something, and like they feel like they've helped and they've added value, and you've all worked for the better good of what the project is, or it just wasn't one-sided. I think that's when you can walk away and feel good about it. You feel like you've given your best. I mean, there's projects even if they didn't go the way you thought it would, but you got through it. I think if you just kept a good attitude and everyone stuck to it and you got through it, I think, and then you move on to the next one, I think that's, you feel like it's successful. It's hard because no project's perfect. And that's why I love this industry, is because I've never been bored. No project is the same. No project is perfect.
Yeah.
You have to keep challenging yourself. It's more of like problem solving together. So how you can get everyone to work together, I think, is the success of it. Figuring out how you can get everybody to work together.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, getting everybody to work together, not having anyone go rogue.
Yeah. No one quit.
Yeah.
It's not your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had someone go rogue a couple weeks ago. It almost like blew up a deal. I'm like,
did they come back?
What were you doing? That was not our plan. That was not our plan. Get back to the plan. And so now we're all good and we're back on track and all that. But well, and I think you mentioned it too. Like success would be is like, hey, we're going on to the next project now. Here's the next one. On to the next one. You
survived at least.
You survived, and your client's
no
calling
litigation.
You for the next one.
Yeah.
You're known for being a connector and a communicator. How do you keep more of like that people first like mindset in this industry?
Social media is big. So definitely like LinkedIn, and trying to remember. LinkedIn helps me a lot. It tries to help me keep my thoughts together. Social media, remembering, just little things about everyone, like what people are involved in, like if you're a mom or if you went to school at a certain college or you're passionate about certain things, and just trying to remember small things about people. So it's personal. But it's hard because I remember people's faces and I'll remember things about them or what they like or where I met them, but sometimes I won't remember their name because you meet so many people.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I know that she loves to shop at Sephora, but I have no idea what her name is. So I'll go through that.
I have a confession. Yeah. I've gotten to where unless I literally write someone down and I really study it and then we're texting each other and we're also connected on social media, unless I have all those things. I had a meeting yesterday and I knew the main person was set up, but they brought 3 people with me and they told me their names real quick. And by the time I went to write their names on the notepad, I forgot all 3 other people's names.
I have the same. And I think it's because, and someone was telling me it's because our brains were not meant to have so many people. We weren't meant to meet so many people. And now we meet so many people. Our networks are open to so many more people than we were before with the internet and the resources we have. I mean, I'm researching so much more than I ever was 5 years ago or 10 years ago, especially with ChatGPT and LinkedIn and Instagram. I remember actually people's Instagram handles sometimes, and I'm like, what is your name? But I know your Instagram handle, or I know the company you work with, but I can't remember their name. Or
I don't know. There's some really prolific people that are really good with remembering names. And I feel like I used to be much better at that. And I don't know if it's just where I'm at in my career or what it is. But yeah. And I just came back from a board meeting too. And it's
information.
I know I've met you before. Hi, I'm Amy again. I'm oh, what am I doing? So anyone listening, if you comment below if you have any tips for us, because it had been all of maybe 17 seconds before I was about to write those people's name down on my notepad. And I was like, nice to meet you, John, which I knew John. And then they said, da-da-da-da. And then I'm like, I don't remember.
It's hard because you're meeting so many people.
Yeah.
It's especially through conferences, and Vegas is the worst. Because Vegas, New York, that's ICSC is hard. There's thousands of people.
Thousands.
Hard to remember.
Yeah. Do you have any ICSC tips? So it was so one of my ICSC, it was my first ICSC, but I went to it's Bill, right? Mm-hmm. And he oversees the overall educational experience for those students that get scholarships. I handed out he did it, and Justin Greider also did it. They handed out cards to all these kids and they said, hey, redeem them for free lunch. And so I did that. Only one hit me up on it. And now I'm about to do a letter of recommendation for her for another scholarship she's going to get. And so, because she just did such a great job.
Yeah.
It is interesting when you go to the conferences, we were really good at following up with each other, but then the lack of you can learn a lot about one of the ways to make the most use of a conference is actually do your follow-up.
The follow-up. Yeah.
You got to do the follow-up. Otherwise, you're not going to make that connection. There is no connection unless you do the follow-up.
Yeah, the follow-up is all the work. You go through and you can walk 30,000 steps a day, and you can go to all the parties, and you can go to the floor all day and meet thousands of people, but the work is the follow-up. And the challenge, I feel, is all the follow-up, and then by the time you catch up on follow-up, you're already at the next conference. So that's what I feel like our team, and we're meeting all the time, and everyone has the same challenge of what is the best process of following up, and how do you prioritize it? And I think it's an ongoing challenge. You do your best, but I try to do prep. So we have meetings, we prep, we get the attendee list, we figure out. We're prepping right now for Center Build in New York and prepping, and we try to do, that's why they've done the dinner. So the dinner, because they know how follow-up is, it's tough to catch up with everybody. There's so many people, so at least if we have a dinner and then we follow up with that group after, when we get back. We do talk about projects, and so we'll follow up with anything if there's a project mentioned, but you have to prioritize it and then just do your best.
You have to prioritize it, what's top of the funnel, what's bottom of the funnel, and, how do you attack that? Because then you always want to be adding again to the top of the funnel. But in my case, I have to tend to both.
Yeah, and then also you have your priorities, but then you're not their priority.
Right.
So you can't even get them to answer. Then your B list is answering you, so then you answer that. So it's just a game.
Continue it, so don't fall.
You just take what you get, and then there's another conference right after. So
I know. So I'm going to ask you some fun, more rapid fire stuff. So these are some of my favorite questions. But before we pivot to that, Were there any topics that we kind of talked about, like maybe talking about that we didn't talk about that you want to chat about?
I don't.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Good. Let's talk about construction and leadership and and I guess the other thing to mention too is just like you always have something to give back, and so I think it's great that you give back so much, like ICSC and other people, and even being on this podcast. I get a lot of reach out from people that are in college and otherwise that listen to the podcast or coming into the industry or even veterans. So it's great. I appreciate you giving back.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you asking me to come on, and it was great to stay connected after ICSC.
Yeah. And we're gonna stay connected more. Yeah. Okay, favorite city you've worked in?
Oh, New York.
Okay.
New York.
I know. I'm actually wearing the dress that I first wore in New York earlier this year. I'm feeling like a New York vibe
all
today.
of New York. Because it was like growing up as a little girl, you're just like, if I can work in New York, you've made it. Like, that's it. It was like, I have to go to New York.
It is not easy to survive in New York. Here in Florida, we are flatlanders with lots of land. There's still different challenges. But if you can make it in New York, you make it anywhere.
Yeah, that scaffolding, going up, climbing that scaffolding in New York, it's like there's nothing like it.
What's a project or client experience that taught you the most?
Yeah, so there was, I guess, my first big break was I was an APM, and my senior PM was doing something that was not they shouldn't be doing. So they were,
So you were promoted.
Yeah, he was let go, and I had no choice but to. I realized I was doing a lot of the work anyway.
Right.
So I was doing all the paperwork. I was doing most of it, and I had imposter syndrome. So didn't realize that I was doing all the work, and he was, speaking in the meetings. And the owner of the company said, "We know you're doing all the work. You just need to learn how to speak. Like, you have to talk louder."
Right.
Because I'm very shy. Being in business development, you'd think I'm not. I'm extremely shy. I'm like a situational extrovert. So they're like,
you're an extroverted introvert.
Yeah. So they're like, you just need to learn to speak up. You talk too soft, and you need to kind of, get more confidence and speak up. We see your paperwork. We see everything you're doing. So just be more confident in yourself. And I just had no choice but to step up because they didn't find anyone, and he was gone that day. It was that bad. So I had to take on, and it was an important project. It was very important to the community, and it was a big project, and we couldn't miss a beat. We would lose our tax credits. So I had no choice, and I was young, and I took on this massive.
How old were you at the time?
I was 25, and it was a $25 million multifamily project, and you're looking at losing tax credits and funding, and so you're like, you just have to.
It was a make it work moment.
Manage all of the subcontractors, and it was a great experience because I'm still close to all the subcontractors to this day because they knew I was in over my head a little bit, and they're like, we're a family, we're all going to work together, we're going to help you, you help us, and just we worked together. We got the project done, we did a great job, and we delivered it to the community, and it was awesome. So that did
make you.
Yeah, it was a great learning experience. Yeah.
What's a piece of advice you'd give to your younger self?
Not to overthink. I overthink things, and everyone's learning. Everyone's learning as they go. To be more confident and trust your gut.
Yes.
Ask questions. Don't feel stupid to ask questions. I was nervous sometimes to ask questions, thinking that my managers or my boss would think that I should know that already. And if I asked, I think I should have asked questions sooner. So yeah. Ask as many questions to everybody. Don't worry if they're a CEO of some big company or if you think they're so important. They're just people. And I've learned that in my 30s. I don't care anymore. I ask anybody. I'll talk to anybody.
Oh, yeah. I'll just 20s, say, hold on a moment. Yeah, hold on a moment. I didn't catch that acronym. Yeah. What did that stand for? Hold on.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Or how did you get there? Or what did you do? Or what is your job? And understanding that, because you never know. That could change your career. You might be interested in something you never thought you'd be interested in. Or you might be capable of doing something you didn't realize that you would be capable of doing and you'd love. And so that's definitely something I wish I did in my 20s that I started in my 30s. So.
Just for fun, so this is my new question. Okay. I ask everybody now. This is my new. So anyone who's on the podcast, thinking about coming on the podcast, so listening, they already know this is going to be a question. But if someone gave you $1 million, okay, and they said you can't invest in real estate, what would you do with it?
What do you do with it? Travel.
Yeah.
Definitely travel.
Via what means? Would you fly somewhere? Would you take a boat? Would you want to do one of those world cruises, or do you hate cruises? What do you see?
I definitely, no offense to anyone who loves cruises. I hate cruises. I despise cruises. I am like, I don't like having a plan. So I don't like having a plan. I like having a backpack and no plan.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you just pack the $1 million and
no plan.
Just go.
Especially if you have money, you can have no plan. So, yeah.
Yeah, you could stay at whatever hotel you want.
You can do whatever you want. You could stay at a
live
tree
in
house.
this hotel for a week.
Yeah.
Then go to Istanbul, whatever.
Yeah.
Do all the things.
I would travel.
Nice. Someone told me the other day they would invest in art, which I thought was a really good answer.
That is a good answer. Yeah, because I didn't think about that because you think real estate art. Yeah.
No, but do travel. Travel is your passion. No, that's a new answer, and I like that answer. So
try not to stay in like the 5-star hotel. Like I would try to have the experience, like the authentic cultural experiences. Like those are. Anytime I've never had a plan.
Yeah. What is some good travel? Like what is one of your favorite trips of maybe the last 3 years?
I've had some fun travel experience. The last 3 years, not so much, but You've gone
further back then. Yeah.
I've gone to Puerto Rico a lot. I grew up going to I love Puerto Rico, and I love going to every part of Puerto Rico, the rainforest, going to different islands. Cuba is one of my favorite places I've traveled. It was like a very emotional kind of experience to go to Cuba. It's beautiful, but it's also like heartbreaking. Mm-hmm. But I went there without a plan. So, that was a fun experience. Argentina.
Wow.
Argentina. Yeah, I do want to go back to Argentina.
Maybe I overplan things, so maybe we could balance each other out. Because I feel like it all has to be like planned out and prescribed and time set aside and all these different things. And so, yeah.
I did. So I've been single for 5 years. So, and when I, was with my partner, like he was very regimented and everything was planned, and it was the 2 weeks vacation and the cruise and the, we're going here and everything. And that's great. And I appreciate it. And he definitely, planned everything. And I was appreciative of that. But as soon as I was on my own and I was like, I want to be free.
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't want to plan. And I had the greatest experiences. I met the best people.
Yeah.
And I learned to let go. I learned to just not let things bother me. Mm-hmm. And not get upset over things. I got actually stuck in Puerto Rico one time on Easter, and I didn't realize that because it's so religious, the stores are closed, everything's closed. We had no food. We were stuck in the rainforest. I'm like, I can't Uber to the restaurant. I can't do anything. And it was okay. Everyone where we were camping was like, we'll share food. And it was such a nice experience because I had to let go. I was not in control of that situation.
Right.
I'm with my daughter at the time. She was 9. I'm like, I'm thinking I can Uber Eats. I'm not thinking I can't just go down to a restaurant. Everything was completely shut down for the whole weekend. So they took Easter and I didn't realize that, even though I've traveled to Puerto Rico all the time. So I had to learn to let go. I had to let go and everything would work out. And we didn't have iPads. We didn't have anything to do. We didn't have a fancy restaurant. We just were in the rainforest and everyone got together and went camping and cooked. And, we met really amazing people that we still talk to this day.
Oh, yes.
And so it was... and they live simply and humbly, and they're like, you need to learn to let go. It's okay. Things don't work out as planned.
Right.
And I'm learning to live like that. Things happen, and
yeah,
it's helped me a lot. So
It's interesting. Yeah, I have a trip coming up in February, and I think this episode will probably like air in November. But my best friend informed me that it's better for us to wait closer to the trip to book the airfare. And I'm like, I want to book the airfare now. And then, but she's like, Amy, we're going to find a flight there. It's not like you're not going to get a flight if we wait until the last minute. There's so many airlines. And I'm like, all right, we're going to wait.
And sometimes I think having a balance is also good.
So it's like a little bit of a difference. And so like, I'm just like, okay, we're going to wait and we'll ride it out and check again. And it's all going to be good. So
have you ever used this app, Hotels Tonight? I
have looked at it, but I haven't used it yet. But it looks like it's a really good deal.
For someone who has to have everything planned ahead, it will put you into like a panic attack. But if you can wait until the last minute, and not all the time, but if you're going to Miami or you're going to like Puerto Rico or LA or New York, sometimes you can stay in like very nice high-end hotels for nothing because they want to fill the space. But it's not a plan. So it's like if you can just wait till the last minute, like day of, and let go. I challenge you to do that.
I know.
I've flown to Puerto Rico, so I missed a flight to Miami on President's Day weekend. I think it was like last year, 2 years ago. And I was with a friend and I negotiated with the airline. Can you just get us in the, like onto another flight? And he didn't hear. And they're like, yeah, sure. Where do you want to go? Like, you want us to send you to Cancun? And I'm like, no, because he doesn't have his passport. But can you send us to Puerto Rico? And they're like, you're out of your minds. And I'm like, no, it's okay. They're like, you don't even have a hotel. And I was like, it's okay. Just put us on the flight. They're like, all right, grab whoever you're flying with and get on the plane. So they put us on the plane. And he thought we were going to, he's like, how did you find another flight to Miami? And I was like, we're going to Puerto Rico. And he's like, what? And he's like, we don't even have a hotel. So we flew there and I used that app like on the plane, and we stayed in like a hotel that would have cost probably $1,000 a night. It was $100. So
okay, I'm gonna do it. I did a hotel. I looked at the hotel app like 2 or 3 days ahead of time, and I didn't feel like it was that good of a deal. So it's actually
you have to wait till the day
of. Yeah. Okay.
And there's a swipe, like a deal. Like
maybe eventually, if enough people use Hotel Tonight, they can be one of my sponsors for my show.
Yeah.
For busy people that want to have adventures at the last time. Yeah. Well, this has been good. What's the best rate for people to reach out to you? I know you're really super active on LinkedIn. Is that usually the best way to start?
LinkedIn. You LinkedIn.
Slide into your DMs.
Yeah, LinkedIn.
All right. We'll make sure to include that on there. So this has been awesome.
Yes, thank you.
And a nice debut appearance by Duke. You can find him on Instagram. His handle is have Duke Whippet smushed all together. So thank you for listening to the Performance Mindset Show. If today's episode gave you something to think about, please share and subscribe so you don't miss out on what's next. Want to go deeper? Grab my book, From Perfect to Real. It's all about dropping perfection and thriving your own way. You can also connect with me at amycalandrino.com. Until next time, stay grounded, stay growing, and keep showing up for you.